Wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second installment of Rooted in Resilience, which is Anthropocene Alliance's green infrastructure training for our members and community-based organizations. My name is Dany Garcia Moreno. Presenting with me today is Karis Ritenour, our wildlife ecologist. And today we'll be diving deep into all the co-benefits of green infrastructure. And let's get started. But before we do, I guess some Zoom housekeeping. If you do feel comfortable turning on your camera, we'd love to see you in the room. Please feel free to jot down questions in the chat. You can also use the raise hand function, but we'll primarily be taking questions at the end. We'll also have an opportunity for a discussion. So make sure you stay tuned in. So to give you an overview of the material covered today, we're going to go over the co-benefits of green infrastructure across community, economy, and environment, and we'll have some time for Q&A. We'll go over some useful tools that you can use to identify the kinds of benefits that green infrastructure can have on your community. We'll have a little reminder of our survey and some other opportunities to learn about green infrastructure. So we'll start off with a refresher from our last session, which was Green Infrastructure 101. So what exactly is green infrastructure? So the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, defines green infrastructure as the method of water management that is as sustainable, environmentally friendly, and as cost-effective as possible. And green infrastructure focuses on treating stormwater runoff before it enters aquifers and other waterways. So that's kind of its main goal. So green infrastructure can take many forms, and it can be used either to replace gray infrastructure or in combination with gray infrastructure to create a hybrid approach. And these different types of green infrastructure will all have different types of co-benefits. So if the main goal of GI, or green infrastructure, is to sustainably manage stormwater, then what exactly are the co-benefits? So co-benefits are the benefits that are produced as a byproduct of green infrastructure implementation. And green infrastructure, as I mentioned, is very place-specific. So each intervention will produce a different set of co-benefits in that location. And these co-benefits can be broadly categorized into three different bubbles. So we have community, economy, and the environment. So we can take a closer look and dive more deeply into each of these categories. So starting off with community, so some of the co-benefits we see here kind of fall into different subcategories. So we have recreation, sense of place, and health. Looking more closely at recreation, so vegetation and trees can often increase publicly available recreation areas, especially in urban areas where there's more pavement and more buildings and that recreation space is limited. Green infrastructure can also reduce noise pollution from traffic, trains, or planes, making those outdoor experiences more pleasant. There's also significant positive association with green space accessibility and physical activity. So the closer you are to green space, which can be green infrastructure, the more active you're likely to be. And the inverse is also true. So for people living further away from green infrastructure, they're less likely to be as active as those living closer. Green infrastructure can also diversify the types of recreation that are available in an area. So for example, you have green lounges, which can provide, green rooftops, which can provide lounging space for people in a city. You can walk under the canopy of urban trees, which again is more pleasant than walking in a barren street without any trees or shade. Or you can canoe in a constructed wetland. So then looking at sense of place, green infrastructure also contributes to creating a sense of community or a sense of place. And it does this by improving aesthetics and walkability. So when we're looking at these two pictures, the picture on the right, you see a street without trees, without that shade that I was talking about. So people that live in this street are going to be less likely to go outside and go for a walk in their neighborhood since it's not as enjoyable. But the street on the left with all those trees and all that shade incentivizes people to spend more time outside, which can lead to more interactions and more positive interactions with members of their community. Specific interventions can also create a community space. So for example, a community garden that has rain barrels to harvest rainwater can create a space where community members can gather and work toward a common goal for producing food for their community. Or a park can serve as a place for gathering for community events, both of which can bolster that sense of togetherness and unity and strengthen a sense of place and sense of community in a neighborhood. So now looking at health, so here we have a graphic from a 2017 review of the health benefits that have been documented in green infrastructure. So this review found benefits across 3 different types of health. So bodily health, mind health, and behavioral health. So looking specifically at bodily health, so green infrastructure exposure can lead to improved cardiovascular health, lowered stress, and improved pregnancy and birth outcomes, typically by reducing the stress of pregnant women as well, and just more healthy babies. In the mind, green infrastructure and vegetation exposure can restore one's ability to pay attention, allowing for more effective decision-making. And it's also associated with lower risk of depression, anxiety, and mood disorders, which in turn can also decrease the rate at which people are prescribed antidepressants or have to undergo extensive and expensive treatment for mental health. And in behavior, green infrastructure is associated with lower crime rates, a greater self-regulation and control against impulsive decisions, and increased behaviors that benefit other people or society as a whole, which are known as pro-social behaviors. And all of these can also lead to a greater sense of community. So as you can see, most of these co-benefits are really interrelated. And if one is occurring, then you're more likely to have other benefits as well. So now moving on to economy, the benefits that we see here can be put into these subcategories: green workforce, utilities and maintenance, and economic development. So looking first at green workforce. So green jobs is a very new topic of conversation, and one that is becoming increasingly important as we're thinking about transitioning away from oil and gas into a green transition. So according to the International Labour Organization at the UN, the green jobs are defined as decent jobs that can contribute to preserving or restoring the environment. And so the implementation of green infrastructure and the maintenance that is required to upkeep it directly leads to an increase in green jobs. And this can also lead to a decrease in unemployment in urban areas and just greater overall economic prosperity for folks that can be trained and brought into the green workforce. In utilities and maintenance, we see that green infrastructure contributes to the cost effectiveness in maintaining it and implementing it by decreasing treatment costs, capital costs, and maintenance costs in water infrastructure. It can also reduce heating and cooling demands, thereby reducing the costs of energy, both at the building and neighborhood level. And these are just more specific examples of how it achieves that. So for example, in decreasing treatment costs, green infrastructure promotes water quality reliability in municipal drinking water supplies, which leads directly to reduced treatment costs. And then we have economic development. So in economic development, more broadly, green infrastructure can lead to a variety of benefits. So it can increase nearby property value. It can, whether that's retail or residential property value. It can contribute to higher retail sales. So people that are walking around and shopping are more likely to do so in a tree-lined street. It can lower healthcare costs through all the health co-benefits that we talked about. And it can also improve job satisfaction and productivity for folks that are working in areas with more green infrastructure. Now, while this is all beneficial, it is really important to note that the implementation of green infrastructure can sometimes lead to green gentrification. And I think it's a pattern that we've noticed most recently in the way that we've been implementing green infrastructure. But this is, of course, very avoidable. So green gentrification is a process by which the implementation of these green solutions leads to an increased perceived local desirability that leads to those higher property values and higher property rents, and in turn displaces lower income folks. So in order to prevent that, green infrastructure investments must also be tied with equity policies at the ground level. So equity always has to be a consideration at the forefront of green infrastructure implementation. And hopefully having community-based organizations that are well-versed in what green infrastructure can do for their communities, be ready to implement those interventions, can help to decrease the rate at which green gentrification is occurring. So now moving on to the environment co-benefits. So we have a variety of environmental co-benefits that can be experienced as a result of green infrastructure implementation. And so these top three, so air quality, water quality and quantity, and urban heat, can also be seen sometimes as the direct benefits expected from green infrastructure implementation, while the bottom three, carbon sequestration, biodiversity, and pollination, are more directly referred to as co-benefits. But we'll go over all of them just to give you an idea of how they work. So looking at air quality, green infrastructure can improve air quality by dispersing pollution away from people and capturing some of the pollutants experienced in urban areas through foliage. So this image here directly represents that by showing on the left-hand side a city with less trees, less vegetation, and less green infrastructure that has poor air quality with less pollution or less dispersal of the pollution happening overall. So the people that are walking through the streets in the city are more directly impacted by that pollution. On the right-hand side, we see that the trees do a much better job with their rough surfaces of mixing and dispersing the pollution that is being emitted, while also just shielding folks that are walking at the ground level from that pollution and from breathing that pollution indirectly. We also see that green infrastructure can mimic the natural water cycle, or can help to restore the natural water cycle in areas that have been heavily urbanized. So this image here shows that as you increase in the percentage of impervious surface in a city or in a region, you will have more runoff and less filtration, which will lead directly to more flooding and decreased water quality. Whereas if you have more natural cover or more green infrastructure, you'll have less runoff, which will directly decrease the amount of flooding that can be experienced. You have more infiltration and overall cleaner water and somewhat closer to what could be considered a natural water cycle. Finally, well, not finally, but another co-benefit that we see is in the urban heat island effect. So the urban heat island effect occurs when cities replace natural land cover with pavements and buildings and surfaces that absorb and retain heat. So implementing green infrastructure, whether that's through trees, urban trees, or green roofs, can help reduce the urban heat island effect by reflecting radiation away from the sun, by reflecting the radiation from the sun away from the buildings, shading those buildings and increasing the evapotranspiration. So that's just the amount of water that is going from the surface back to the atmosphere. So this image directly shows that. On the left, you see this city with more impervious surfaces, more of that concrete jungle that will have higher temperatures than the one on the right, which has more trees, more green cover, and will reflect some of that radiation and therefore have lower temperatures. So now I'll hand it over to Karis to finish up some of the environmental co-benefits.
Thanks, Dany. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and focus on, so far, most of the co-benefits that we've talked about are really benefiting people. And that's obviously incredibly important. But I also want to talk about the more direct benefits to the earth, to ecosystems, and to plants and animals. So the first of these is carbon sequestration. which is a fancy name for plants taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and storing it both within the plants themselves and in the soil through decomposing. And so as you can see in this diagram, with less plant cover, there is a lot less sequestration, whereas plants, make that available. And a lot of folks, when they think about carbon sequestration, talk about trees and forests, which are obviously very important. You might have heard the Amazon rainforest be referred to as the lungs of the earth. And it is really important, but most people don't know that current studies suggest that coastal wetlands actually sequester carbon 10 times faster than mature tropical forests. And they also store 3 to 5 times more carbon than the same area of a tropical forest. And freshwater inland wetlands, in part because there are just more of them than carbon, because there are more freshwater inland wetlands than there are saltwater wetlands, they actually hold about 10 times as much carbon as saltwater, which already holds 3 to 5 times as much as the forest. So even a small wetland restoration project or created wetland, even something as small as a rain garden can make a difference in holding this carbon, especially as long as it is not disrupted by human activity. Next slide. So I also want to talk about biodiversity, which is defined as the variety of life that makes up our natural world. This is most often measured in terms of number of species, which covers plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, all sorts of different, all the different species, but it also refers to genetic diversity within a species, as well as the number of different ecosystems within an area. All of these are considered types of biodiversity. And the main takeaway is that increased diversity increases resilience. Complex ecosystems are much healthier and more likely to survive even when catastrophic events happen. And so another really cool thing about biodiversity is that it can increase as the plantings mature. So when you first plant, a rain garden or a green roof or something like that, you'll see a little bit of diversifying, but as those plants grow and mature and spread, and as other plants and animals come in, you'll see the benefits sort of accrue over time, which is really cool. So most of the things that you've heard us talk about, or you've heard Dany talk about so far, are under the term ecosystem services. So these are this is most often used to refer to benefits that you can get from an ecosystem for humans. So the economic benefits, a couple that we haven't really covered was like pest control. There's a benefit to biodiversity for medicinal research. A lot of new medicines are coming out of scientists experimenting with plants, and obviously the more plants go extinct, the more likely it is that something that could have been a medical breakthrough will never be found. It also helps with food security, which I'll get to in a second, and biodiversity even improves water quality. That one study found that the more diverse the planting within a wetland, the more filtration was activated, and the better the water quality. And so while these are all important aspects, and they're often what people talk about when they talk about green infrastructure and they talk about the benefits of nature, because we're sort of a cash-based bottom line sort of culture. I also really want to talk about the intrinsic value of nature. Humans can't really be separated from nature. We are a part of it. Even the most urban areas are still part of nature. And there's actually a growing global movement to recognize the rights of nature. This is indigenous-led and rooted in traditional indigenous knowledge. And it's growing all over the world to recognize that ecosystems are not just land, just property to be owned, but can have legal rights, and folks have been successful in some places in suing on behalf of ecosystems to get reparation for destruction and that sort of thing. One example would be Ecuador was the first country to recognize the rights of nature in 2008. And various different municipalities and states are on various different timelines with recognizing that. But the basic idea is that plants and animals deserve to exist and thrive. And I would argue that diversity in itself is intrinsically valuable. It is good for our world to have as many different species as it can. Next slide. Some of these most important species are definitely pollinators, and that's absolutely something that green infrastructure can really improve, even in a really small area. So I'm sure you've heard about the bees are dying. There's a lot of different threats to bees, including a lack of habitat, in part due to decreasing number of native plants, climate change, misuse of pesticides, and also pathogens and illnesses. But lots of other things are also pollinators, including butterflies and moths. Wasps even are valuable pollinators. And then, of course, hummingbirds and bats. And even some small mammals like mice can be really valuable pollinators. And almost every plant, every flowering plant requires pollination, including everything that we eat. So obviously, keeping pollinators alive and in your area is really important for the health of the ecosystem, for the health of the plants, and for your health as people. I mentioned native species. There is research that suggests that native pollinators prefer native plants. And when I say native, I just want to clarify that means a species that existed within a certain region or ecosystem without human influence. So not everything that you see around you is going to be native. A really good example of that is almost all of the grass that we use for lawns and public areas like that are non-native. Even ones that have native sounding names like Kentucky bluegrass is actually from Europe and Asia and has been imported here. And so plants like that are not going to support as many pollinators, are not going to support the biodiversity that we're looking for as much as native grasses or other native plants. Yeah, and so like I said, small plantings can cause big differences. It's incredible, even in my small yard. We've done some native plantings and have really seen over the years the number of different pollinators that are coming to our garden and the health of the garden increase. Another really useful way to use this as part of green infrastructure is, Dany mentioned, community gardens. Planting native plants alongside food plants can really increase the yield of crop plants and make a happier, healthier garden that it can feed your community. So lots of arguments for more green space, more plants, more green infrastructure, both for people, but also for the world as large.
Thank you, Karis. Yeah, so as Karis mentioned, we presented various examples of green infrastructure, but this list was, of course, not comprehensive. Green infrastructure is a field that is still being studied and that is still emerging as more communities across the world and across the US implement it, and we can study its impacts. But something that should be noted is that not all co-benefits are created equal, even the ones that we didn't mention today. So different green infrastructure will have different co-benefits that manifest differently across time and space. So while you may implement a green infrastructure project and expect to see some initial benefits that are more immediate, some other benefits that we talked about, like the health benefits or the economic benefits, may not necessarily manifest in that project until the long term. Yeah, so all that to say that green infrastructure projects will evolve throughout time, providing your community with more and more and different benefits as it adapts. And yeah, so I think we'll pause there to take some questions. And I will stop sharing so that we can all see each other.
I'm in.
Hi, Gloria.
Okay, I live in Pensacola, Florida, and I can see the bay from my house. And we have a 19-acre green space right now. It's not really that green, I got to tell you. There used to be a sewer treatment plant there. So there's 4 feet of concrete underneath that 19 acres. So the water can't go anywhere except to everyone around us. Mm. And then, I do everything I can at my house for green infrastructure, but then I'm situated with salt water that's infiltrating my property and sewage. So I think we've got some gardens and things like that in our community, but they're not in the high impact areas of flooding. And the flooding is full of human waste. And when I tell you at June 16th, we had 7 inches of rain. I had 2.5 feet of water in my house because of uncontrolled building and development that has no place for the water to go. And it just wasn't me. It was 5 homes and 3 businesses. And we had condoms, anything you can find or anything anybody will flush down a toilet. I mean, there was needles, and y'all quit flushing those flushable wipes. They're not flushable. And it just backed up. And then my community hardscaped the park that I can see from my house. How do we deal with government entities that are just built on development and don't care how much concrete they put down? The park I'm talking about, it used to be all natural, and now it's concrete, not pervious concrete. What can we do? How can we get this going? That it's got to be infrastructure and green space combined.
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I'm really sorry to hear about the flooding that you're experiencing. That sounds awful. I think that there are a few different ways to go about it. And Dany, feel free to jump in. But I think I recently had a conversation with another community-based organization who was looking for larger solutions to political issues as well. And I think a big area that we are trying to increase our as A2's influence in is community organizing. And I think there are sort of legal ways that you can go after things like that through pro bono legal funds and such like that, as well as organizing the community and taking political action, as well as a lot of other community-based organizations will make connections with the municipality directly to try to sway, you know, city councils or anything. I know that that's hit or miss depending on where you live for sure. So those are just a few of the ideas off the top of my head. Dany, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I think in cases of like a combined sewer overflow, I think like Karis mentioned, there's definitely a little bit more of the like legal weight that we can leverage to get action and to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I know that the EPA has very strict regulations around combined sewer overflows. So if your municipality does have a combined sewer system, there should definitely be funding. That's not, was it a separate?
They are separate,
Okay.
but the infrastructure is so old that they collapse and they become one.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, for 8 years, I've been looking for a lawyer, and nobody wants to touch it. And I was really lucky and still am doing water testing. And every time it rains, it doesn't have to be a flood situation. It can be 3 or 4 inches. When we test the water at my house and south of me, the intercoccus is over 2,000. The level is supposed to be 70 or below. So, you know, I know the Clean Water Act, you know, I'm an environmental social scientist, but I can't get anywhere with it because of the political nightmare I'm dealing with in Florida, as all y'all know. You know, it's build, 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 but no infrastructure. And so how do we convince them? Excuse me. How do we convince them to stop this destruction of our waterways? Not only of my home and my other homes and businesses around me, but this is a bigger picture. And we don't seem to be addressing it. And I'm not saying y'all aren't. That's not what I'm saying. How do we, you know, can we get lawyers? Can we get somebody? I would love it, because I've been fighting for 8 years for that very thing, to stop this madness.
Right.
When everybody comes to Florida to go swimming, and don't do it. Just don't do it. Our water is for it. And we just keep building and letting the sewage and you know, stormwater is pollutant all by itself without sewage. And then you add that. How do we do it? And individually, I'm planting a lot of green stuff, but when salt water comes in, it dies. So boy, I am the perfect storm. Come to my house. So any suggestions, any help, I'm begging for it. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, I think then in that case, I do want to reiterate, I think what Karis shared about, you know, community organizing would be a really powerful tool. I think there's definitely strength in numbers, and, you know, if we can connect you with either the Environmental Protection Network or other pro bono legal assistance, we'd love to talk. And we can be in touch more directly about that. I do see that Delia sent a note about someone in Illinois that is a part of A2 that litigated a case there, and that shared an article. So thank you, Delia. And yeah, we'll definitely, I know that we do have a lot of contacts in the A2 network. So we can absolutely, you know, work to connect you with someone that will actually be courageous to take that on. Thank you.
Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah. EPN has contacted me often, but they can't find anyone.
Oh.
So yeah.
But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll keep working on it, I promise.
Thanks, Dany.
I do see another question here from Doreen. Can zoning ordinances be developed to require infiltration in areas where impervious surfaces are contributing to flooding. Yeah, I think zoning has really become a powerful tool in green infrastructure. I have seen, I used to work as a planner for a regional planning agency in Massachusetts. And I think Massachusetts, and a lot of the times, is kind of ahead of the game in implementing, you know, these kind of pro-nature policies. But, you know, something like having requirements for new developments to have a green infrastructure, I think is a great way to improve or decrease impervious surfaces. I would love to look for some more examples of the types of policies or ordinances that can be implemented. I don't have many examples off the top of my head, but that's definitely a powerful tool and one that, you know, can make developers really respond quickly. Does anyone have any other questions before we dive back into some of the tools that we've collected for you all today? So Delia's asked, what about communities like Cicero who utilize the TIF funding? And Delia, I don't think I'm familiar with TIF funding. Would you mind elaborating on that, please?
It's the tax increment funding, I think it is what they call. So what Cicero has done is utilize to change their zoning ordinance. It's actually not to our favor. It's more to build industry, not to make green infrastructure, because we've been asking for green infrastructure for a long time. And basically we found out that they use those that TIF financing money to actually build, like to change the ordinance, but to their favor, like bringing in more industry and urbanize more than we already are. So that's been a huge issue, because it's like we don't understand the whole TIF issue in regards to how they're allowed to use all that funding for investors and bring, you know, things like Amazon and things like that, and actually change the whole zoning ordinance to their favor, not to the community's favor.
I see. Yeah, that sounds like it's very much working against us rather than with us. So I'm sorry to hear that that's something that you've been dealing with in Cicero. It's certainly something, you know, that we can look more into detail and have more concrete answers. I'm not very familiar with TIFs myself. We will be having a session that looks more deeply into some of these funding mechanisms and like legal issues that communities can face with green infrastructure. So I think this will definitely be a good topic to send up to that session. Thank you. And Ramona, I see you do have your hand raised, so go ahead.
Yeah, just a little bit on tax increment financing. TIFs are horrible, right? TIFs, to me, fall in the same category as gentrification, and they are used as gentrification tools, right? And what they end up doing is TIFs taxing districts like your school district, right? So they are they strip monies away from school districts. They strip money away from, say, for instance, affordable housing organizations and everything like that. So if you all want to organize, you really need to organize around TIFs. We went to battle over TIFs in St. Louis that were just being totally abused by developers. Who ends up paying and footing the bill are the poor communities, because you are taxed over a 30,
40-year period of time, however long the tip is spored. So those communities, and they do the TIF projects in LMI communities, low and moderate income communities. Okay, so developers love them, politicians love them because it's an easy way for their palms to get greased. Find out who it is that is issuing the TIFs and what the process is, right? And communities should be involved, and you all should make a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of noise. They are not friends of ours. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you so much, Ramona. That was really helpful.
Just one more thing. We have the rules. We have the regulations. They're not being enforced. And for 2 years, I've been fighting for this runoff from a build, and it's illegal. And I'm getting nowhere. So, and I understand community action and such, but I'm in so it's become very gentrified. I live in a 1908 house that's 702 square feet, but I have, these mansions going up around me that are ugly, but that's just my opinion, with no green stuff. And their runoff is impacting my community. And the city knows it, and they won't enforce the regulations. So I go back, Dany and Ramona knows this. We've been friends for a long time. I'm just crazed. And until we can find a group like EPN that will come in, and they don't have to be here more than 20 minutes, because if the city knows that they're on them, maybe they'll do something. But right now, our voices are hitting walls. And it's just not my community. It's my surrounding community, because everybody wants to live downtown now. Well, they didn't know that we're Sewageville. So maybe they'll come to the table. But I just recently learned now that 20% of my community, which is the tan yard community, is Airbnbs. And we do not have affordable housing. So green infrastructure is fantastic. And I mean that. I'm not being my sarcastic self. But we can't get developers and politicians on the table with it. Even when we illustrate through great studies that we're polluting our waterways. Why do people come to Pensacola or to Florida? Our waterways, our beautiful water. Well, it's beautiful, but don't get in it. So I'll shut up, but I'm just so frustrated at this point, especially with these new developments that came up behind my house. Every time it rains, I have to evacuate.
Really sorry.
7 inches.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it must be like dealing. I'm really sorry to hear that. And I hear your frustration. And yeah, like I said, we can work on connecting you with someone that can actually be helpful.
I appreciate it, Dany. I am frustrated. I'm at my wit's end. So.
Yeah.
Where's your community at?
I'm in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
I'm in a community called the Tan Yard. We're the oldest community in the city. I'm 1 block from City Hall. So if you want to see where I live, look up Bruce Beach, Pensacola, and I can see Bruce Beach from my house, and look at the before and after of Bruce Beach and how they just raped it. It's just horrid. And the floodwaters that we have. And if you go to my Facebook, Gloria G. Horning, you'll see years and years of videos. Also on.
Sorry, I'm going to recording, and we'll share again just some of the tools and resources that we compiled. So I'll hand it over to Karis. I think they'd compiled a couple of great ones for biodiversity and pollinators.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to share a couple of really great tools that you can use. There are lots of grants that would fund green infrastructure, and many of them, especially National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, would usually ask about what impact it'll have on the local flora and fauna. And so just a couple of tools to be able to put that into grants if you're looking for funding, and to be able to use those co-benefits to attract some funding that can be used for green infrastructure. So I've got a few here. I'm not going to go into all of them, but one really nice one is eBird. eBird is a citizen science website where folks record sightings of birds, and you can look for you can search the map and see your area and see what birds are found there. I am going to show really quick. This is iNaturalist, which is similar. It's a citizen science website. Anyone can join and share what animals and plants they're seeing in their area. And so one way that you can use this, especially if you're trying to show co-benefits as part of a grant, you don't have to sign up to just explore. So you click explore here, and then click a location. So I'm going to put in Baton Rouge because that's where I'm located. You can see the map and see exactly where it's covering. And then you can either search for specific species, or if you want, you can click filters and click threatened. And you can see what species that are threatened or endangered might be present in your area that might be able to help you either with writing a grant or potentially legally, you know, using those laws that protect nature and animals as much as possible. And so one example here would be this little blue heron is, so you have to be a little careful with iNaturalist. Not everything that's on here is actually endangered or threatened, but the little blue heron is. And so, you know, I could argue in a grant process that putting in rain gardens or revitalizing marshland would directly benefit the little blue heron. And one way to find out what, another way to find out what species are endangered or threatened in your area, because most folks know about the Threatened and Endangered Species Act and the federal list, but there are also lists for every state. And the best way to find them, it's a little confusing. The best way to find them is to look up your state's name and State Wildlife Action Plan. And so this is an example of one for Louisiana. You can see the little blue heron is right on here, and it'll tell you like what rank it is, which, you know, as long as it's, so what they call these is unfortunately not endangered species or threatened species. It's referred to as species of greatest conservation need, which is a mouthful and hard to remember. But if you look up your State Wildlife Action Plan, there should be a list of species, and it'll usually be divided like this one, where like these are all the birds, these are all the amphibians and reptiles, and you should be able to find with a combination of that and iNaturalist what species that need protection are in your area that could benefit from any green infrastructure that you're planning. So I will stop sharing my screen.
And I'll jump in and share a couple of resources that can help you identify the kinds of hazards that can be mitigated through green infrastructure. So just like there's the wildlife action plans or conservation plans, every state is also required to have a state hazard mitigation plan. So a way to find those, if you go to FEMA, I will share this in the chat, the website. This website will take you to this comprehensive list. And here you can search your state. So I'm in Georgia, so I can go to the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency, or contact the State Hazard Mitigation Officer, also known as the SHMO, to get access to that state hazard mitigation plan. Another really useful tool that can also be used for grant writing is, again, if you're trying to apply for NIFWIF and trying to highlight what climate risks are impacting your community and how green infrastructure can address those, is risk factor. So we use this a lot in our grant writing processes. So I'll put, again, Atlanta, which is where I'm located, and hit search, and it will populate the area of your city or your county, whatever level you're wanting to look at. And it'll give you the risk factor for various types of hazards. So right here, you can see that Atlanta has a moderate flood factor. So you can use that to make the argument in your grant application that implementing green infrastructure will help mitigate that moderate flood factor. The same, you can use the same for fire factor, which maybe green infrastructure can be, I'm not too sure how green infrastructure can mitigate that, but maybe there's the evapotranspiration benefit. Or another one that we talked about is air factor. So I can, again, make the argument that green infrastructure can help to improve this moderate air quality. And finally, the heat risk. So as you can see, Atlanta has major heat risk. So this means that majority of the folks or of the properties in Atlanta will be at risk of facing extreme heat. So again, you can use that in a grant proposal to argue that your project will help to mitigate that. And a final and a little bit more complicated tool that we won't go into too much detail, but can give you a lot of really useful information, is the FEMA National Risk Index. So this uses an index, and it gives you a relative index. So it compares your community to the communities around the US to see how at risk you are for various hazards. So you can see it has an all natural hazards index, but it also has risk index or indices for each specific hazard. So you can look at heat waves. And again, I can go to Atlanta. As you can see, Atlanta is not actually rated for heat wave risk, but that's why it's important to use all these different tools and use them together to have a more comprehensive picture of your community. So those are our tools that we want to share with you. To wrap it up, I know we're running out of time. Sorry, I'll share my screen again. I did want to remind folks to take our survey. We're I think at only 15 responses still. So I'll be sure to share that again, but here it is again. If you want to take a minute to take it now, it's about 5 or 6 questions, very easy, just to get a better understanding of what topics you want to see in the coming sessions. And lastly, if you think, wow, great infrastructure is great and I want more of it, and you want to attend additional trainings, sorry, I accidentally shared the wrong screen. There is a green infrastructure accelerator being hosted by the, oh my gosh, sorry, where is it? The Center for Regenerative Solutions. So this is a series of trainings that will be, their goal is to bring together both community organizations and municipalities to think about how we can all work together to accelerate green infrastructure as an equitable component of community development. So there's 2 tracks. You can either apply as a core participant. So there's more of a formal commitment required and you do have to apply to be on track 1. Or you can apply under track 2 and just observe, and it's a little bit more flexible and less commitment required. So if you're interested, we'll share these slides again with the links. The application is open until mid-June, I believe. And with that, I just want to thank you all again for joining us today. If you don't have our contact information, here it is. Please be in touch with any more questions or yeah, if there's anything that you need at all from us.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you all.
You, Dany and Karis.
Thanks.